I'm Kaitlyn Slezak, and I competed in the solo con tutti competition in 2019.
And I'm Ben Hayes, and I competed in the solo con tutti competition in 2018. So Kaitlyn, what was your most exciting part about doing that?
So for me, the most exciting moment of performing with the symphony was actually the last 2 measures or so of my piece. Just knowing you got through the whole recitative, you got through the whole aria, and just knowing you've got 2 measures left and it's gonna go great, and hitting that last note and then hearing that last chord from the symphony and people cheering, that was just a really, really great moment. What about you?
The most exciting part for me was getting to sing in that performance hall space, as a solo. There wasn't really much use of that space except for the musicals that they had done, or stuff for the school. So getting to use that space for what it's probably best used for was really cool. Performing in front of the orchestra was probably the most exciting thing, to have them behind you and supporting you, because you're getting to sing your piece the way it was originally written for and intended, which mine was Mozart, and it was an aria from Mozart's opera. So it was cool to be singing it the way that it was originally written for, because it was a solo, but it's the first time you're doing it with the orchestra. And we've done solo stuff before in the vocal showcases, but it was a little bit different, not having just the piano and then doing it in front of the orchestra, having them behind you. And just that whole thing was really cool. That was the most exciting thing. So, but what was the most difficult part for you about it?
The actual performance itself, it really wasn't too bad. Honestly, waiting to perform was a little bit difficult just with the nerves. I think actually the rehearsal and just making sure having the whole, for me, the recitative was tricky to put together. Having that with the symphony, and then my voice teacher, Miss Abbott, talking a little bit about different things to try. For me, that was the hardest part, was just that instant collaboration, putting it together. But the actual performance part, it was really smooth, and that part was really easy. What about you?
Yeah, I didn't think about the recitative part. I didn't have a recitative for mine, so I just got to go right into the aria. But the most difficult part for me was probably, you said the rehearsals?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so the rehearsals are probably hard, because now that you are not the only person performing as an instrument yourself along with a piano, you have all these other instruments behind you, so you have to be in sync with how many people, 40, 50 other people, but also with the conductor. And you're normally, as a soloist, singing for vocal showcases, you don't have people conducting you, but you had to kind of stay with your conductor that was doing it with you. But then also another difficult part was, and it's good because you're getting professional experience this way, but I had to go to Miss Abbott and kind of say, hey, how do I talk to the director about it's going a little too slow, or it's going a little too fast, and then how do I talk about how I'm going to take this one part in the song where it's really up to the singer to decide how long they want to carry out a phrase, because it's kind of an ad-lib moment written in for the singer. So I had to be how do I do that politely and respectfully and professionally? And so you just kind of had to learn how to do that and adjust. So that was the hardest part, but luckily Mr. Benjamin was great and the orchestra was great, so it just went basically as smoothly as possible. So but that kind of working on that kind of stuff and feeling a little bit of stressed about that was probably the hardest part. So how is it special for you?
Well, for me, I've just always really looked up to the other students who were able to go through that competition and then perform. Watching you do it really inspired me, and then in the end being able to look back and be okay, Ben did his solo, I want to do that, and then also getting the opportunity to do that as well. It's special for me that we share that bond, that we both were able to do that.
Yeah, that's special for me too, getting to watch you do it. So that was special for me for your part, for your performance, but it was special for me too because as she said, she got to watch other people do it before her. I don't know if really I got to watch anybody do it before me, but what was special for me was like I got to do it in front of my professors that helped prepare me for it, which is really cool. And you're doing it for the institution that you're at, the academic institution that you're at that got you where you're at, Mount Union. You're doing it for the Mount Union Orchestra, and you're doing it in front of people that have helped prepare you for it. Also, I had family members that got to watch me sing in a big setting like that for the first time. I got video recorded of it, so I got to keep that and show a bunch of other people too. That was really special, because, you know, going back to singing in front of your professors, you don't really get to do that often once you're gone from the school and you've graduated. You get to perform more if you go on to continue doing stuff like I have with my master's, but you don't get to like have those familiar faces and those people comforting you, you know, every second of the way. So that's just the other part of that's how that's really special. So is there anything else you wanted to say about it?
I just think if you have the opportunity to do it, really just try to soak in every moment. It's turned into one of my favorite memories, and people ask for maybe a list of like your top 3, top 5 best college memories. It's always a part of the list. It was just a great experience being able to do that, and I'd love to do it again someday.
Yeah, true. Also, the audition process for something like that was just good experience to get to, I think. It's probably one of the only things that you get to do audition process wise anyway. Like that was one of the only things that I had to do at Mount for audition stuff. So that experience is also really good, and you kind of learn like from your voice teacher and probably other like individual instrument professors who teach like what to do for auditions and stuff. But it was cool to like put that into practice, because it wasn't just me going up against other singers. It was me going up another singer, another piano player, another flute player, you know, stuff like that. So that was really cool. I don't think there's much else I want to say, but yeah,
just enjoy it. It's fun.
It's cool.
Hi everyone. The thing that was most exciting about playing with the orchestra was collaborating at that scale with that many musicians. I mean, it was just a lot of fun. Obviously it's a solo piece, technically with orchestral accompaniment, but there were so many times where it felt like I was accompanying the orchestra. Toward the end of the first movement, there's just, well, the woodwinds go, yeah, it's just fun, pretty. I'm an accompanist at heart, so it was fun to be accompanied and also to accompany with such a large group of people. I think the most difficult part of performing as a soloist with the orchestra was sort of a combination of limited rehearsal time, just because there are so many people involved, and lack of experience. I think student pianists don't often get to play following a conductor. We're either playing solo or we're playing while we accompany an instrumentalist or a singer. And so, knowing this piece so well, it was fun and challenging over the course of, I think, 5, maybe 6 rehearsals to make sure that I was both expressing in the way that I wanted to express, while also hearing everyone in the orchestra, while also following our conductor. And if you ever go back and listen to the recording of my concerto, you can hear a couple spots where I made mistakes in that regard. I got to a downbeat early or late. Yeah. So it was a really fun challenge. I think the whole experience was really special for me because up until that point, I had never really thought of myself as someone who could be a solo classical pianist. Sort of thought of myself as, the nice way to put it is a jack of all trades, and the not nice way to put it is a hack, where I played a little jazz, quite a bit of musical theater, and I also studied classical. And I had obviously performed solo a lot, but in a way it always felt like I was practicing to get to performance and that pieces never really reached a high level of fidelity. But playing as a soloist in that capacity really motivated me extrinsically to get that piece together. And while it was never perfect, it really made me feel like I was a competent pianist. I hope that makes sense. So, just a couple fun facts about my process. When I auditioned, all three of the people on the panel were people who had been either influential to me from afar or ended up being influential. So I believe it was Sophie van der Westhuizen, I think, who was a piano faculty member at Youngstown State, where I ended up later going to graduate school. C.M. Shearer, who taught my choral mentors, Dr. Grant Cook and also Joy Lear from my high school, and Dr. Stephen Gage, who ended up being my conducting professor in grad school. And speaking of conducting, I was really lucky that Professor Benjamin ended up letting me be assistant conductor for the Alliance Symphony a few months after I played the concerto. And that was a really challenging but rewarding experience. I'm very excited to see Dr. Liliestedt's performance. Thanks for doing this, Maira.